Stakeholders are calling on the federal government to confront the root causes of recurring violence in the Middle Belt and ensuring justice is delivered without ethnic bias. Speaking at a News Central TV town hall meeting in Jos, Plateau State, voices from across the region, community leaders, conflict victims, security agencies and civil society groups gathered under the theme One Middle Belt, One Voice, from conflict to action and justice, as residents in Plateau State are demanding reforms, accusing Nigerian security agencies of failing in their core duty to protect lives. Among the demands, a nationwide ban on open grazing, a clear legal distinction between indigenes and settlers, and even a return to the 1963 Constitution. For many, the message is clear. Nigerian security institutions owe the people an apology for years of underperformance. Let's take a listen to some participants who share their thoughts and concerns at the town hall meeting.
The attacks are basically from hired machineries from within and outside this country. We have evidence to show that. I have mentioned that before now, that the security should live up to their expectation. All the security, including immigration, because some of these people come from outside the shores of Nigeria. And if you do what you're supposed to do, this thing will come to an end. Secondly, apart from the people coming from outside, you have the victims. They have told you that nowadays, even the people within join the people from outside to do the attack. So it's becoming pretty difficult to ask these two people to sit down and agree when you see your neighbor carrying a gun against you. It becomes very difficult now for you to sit down and agree on how to live in peace if you don't have that similar gun. And the security will always rush after they have finished attacking and then arrest our youths with their gun guns and their machetes or whatever they have to defend themselves. But including the chief of defense staff, all the security chiefs have agreed that everybody should go and defend himself. If you arrest people with their weapons, what do you expect them to defend themselves from these attackers that are coming with sophisticated weapons? Please, you should go and rethink and re-strategize on what to do.
Fulani Oshun, Fulani Ekiti, Fulani Sokoto, Fulani Kasina, Fulani Kaduna, Fulani Plateau, Fulani Benue, Fulani Taraba. Are you the only tribes in Nigeria? You are not the only tribe. There is nothing like profiling of a people. I'm a Fulani man. I'm a grandfather of 8 grandchildren. And we just have to speak the truth. The Bible says you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. As long as we continue to glouse over the truth, we will never get the answer. And I want to say this to our security men.
Well, we continue the conversation here. Joining me to discuss this is Zariyi Yusuf, is the former national coordinator of Middle Belt Patriots. I also have Reverend John Hayab, is the chairman of the Northern Christian Association of Nigeria. And Franc Utoo is Yelwata indigene, joining from Benue State. Gentlemen, thank you for your time. All right.
Thank you for having us, Dapo.
Oh, great, great. Let me start with you, Zariyi. Before we get even into the crux of the matter itself, let's backtrack a bit to try to understand the root cause of this conflict. We know that, at the town hall meeting that News Central hosted, to sort of find a lasting solution to this, several issues were pointed out as the root cause. But I would like to hear from you, Zariyi. What do you consider the root cause of this? Is it tribal? Is it business? Is it as a result of a land dispute? What exactly is responsible for this decade or series of violence that we've seen across the Middle Belt?
Story short, let me put it this way. When you look at those who are attacking and you look at those who are being killed, I would simply connect what's happening to the age-long or to the failed jihad campaign of Usman Dan Fodio in the Middle Belt. That basically is what is being resurrected by the Fulani Islamists. Let me put it this way. It is a region where a certain group of people believe they have a certain entitlement by virtue of their religious ideology to subjugate. Our forefathers fought this kind of battle at some point, where a group believes, by virtue of their ideology or their feeling of superiority over a certain group, they would have to subjugate you, or if they meet any resistance, they would have to kill as many as they could kill. The story where people talk about a crisis between farmers and herders, intercommunal, and all of that, we are not denying the fact that in any situation where you find an agrarian community and you find herders, there have always been this misunderstanding. That, unfortunately, is only a cover for what basically we would refer to as the genocidal massacres that have been happening for over a decade in the Middle Belt. So the cause of this is because when you look at the attackers, they are primarily 99.9% they are Muslims, 99.9% they are coming against a group that is Christian, and 99.9% they are Fulani people. Of course, the Middle Belt it cuts across all kinds of people, Christians, Muslims, different tribes. But when you look at what's happening, you would understand that it is simply a jihadist, expansionist agenda. And it is being carried out by this Fulani Islamist militia. And that basically is the cause. Because if we just want to trace it back to farmer-herder clash, how do you explain a situation where men, women, children, young and old, are being killed? Sometimes you break a door and you spray a woman with 4 or 5 kids with bullets and you move to the next door, to the next place. And the kinds of demands that are being made as an exchange for peace by these killers gives you an idea that it is actually not a clash, but as an expansionist mission, basically a follow-up to the failed jihad of Fodio. That basically is what it is. Okay, so thank you so much. For you, Zariyi, you feel that this is a continuum of an expansionist agenda by certain tribes. Am I correct? That's right. You are correct. Okay, I'll leave you for a moment. I'd like to bring Reverend Hayab into this. For you, what do you consider the root cause of this?
Thank you very much. So that we don't repeat ourselves, the first speaker have actually kick-started the conversation. One thing is clear: this clashes or this killing is not farmers herders. The use of nomenclature or the caption farmers herders is just a simple way of diverting attention. And that's one of the reasons why it's been difficult also to address the issue. Because those who sell this idea that it's the farmers herders actually just do it for purposes of development work, but they don't understand what exactly is the matter. If we do proper assessment or proper needs assessment, we will see that there is nothing farmers herders. Farmers and herders have lived together for a long time. They've had misunderstanding, and they settle it. We don't know herders or farmers carrying sophisticated weapons and going to kill. Tell me a man who comes into a village and wipe out women, wipe out children. Where is the farm? Where are the herders in this context? So I want to buttress that point he has raised. But I think another reason that I feel the crisis has been going is because there's a failure on the side of government to take action against those who torment our citizens. You see, once there is a killing, someone comes into a community, kill your citizens, destroy their homes, destroy their farms, and just go away, and nobody ever arrested and brought or bring to justice. So this kind of rubbish will continue to happen. The other side of it is that there is a problem of land grabbing. Let's be honest with ourselves about this. In most of these lands, the other day I was traveling through the Northeast and I saw how greenish the land is. And I asked myself this question: why should Fulani come in around Cameroon and around Northeast and do not stop there to actually take grass and come into the Middle Belt? For what? And you can see the simple thing is they want to grab land. They want to take over land. There's vast land there that whether...
Reverend Hayab, are you there? I think we, of course, lost connection with him. Once we have him back, we'll bring him on. But let's hear from Franc Utoo. Franc, you are a Yelwata indigene. You are, from Benue State. You reside there. And this issue, we know that also spans into your area. What do you, for instance, in Benue State, consider the root cause?
Thank you very much for having me. Just like the Reverend said, the first speaker has so encapsulated everything that has been the root cause. We don't need to keep repeating ourselves. This thing has been well established over time. In the last 12 years, I've been an integral part of this. I'm an authority in this area. Right now, this is part of what I'm doing also at the University of Central Oklahoma in the U.S.
So sorry to interrupt you. So you feel it's also an expansionist agenda. Is that what you're saying?
Extremely, extremely. Look, we are dealing with people who are galvanized by an ideology that seeks to dominate, that seeks to conquer. And this is the ideology that have been driving these people all this while. They are coming under what some of their sponsors. Anytime you hear anybody say call this genocide, this terrorism, this act of domination as farmer header crisis, just know that that person is one of the sponsors, because they are elites who are in government, who are in the traditional institutions, who are in the political and business class. They always use this generalization of farmer header crisis or this euphemism to douse the propriety of what is really happening.
Frank, I'm going to put this to you directly. Please, sorry to interrupt, but you are saying that this talk of farmers' headers clash is just a facade to cover up something maybe more sinister. Is that what you're saying?
My brother, yeah, it's a euphemism.
Okay,
you know what? Euphemism for
we'll come back to that. I understand we need to go on a quick break. I'll let you land on your point, but we'll be right back. Stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. It's still Politics HQ on News Central Television. I still have my guest with me. Before we went on break, I was with you, Franc Utoo. You were trying to establish the fact that the notion that all of this crisis, or most of it that we see in the Middle Belt, is farmers' headers related, is a facade. You went on to say that maybe it's even by sponsors. I would like you to, speak more on this. What exactly are you driving at?
We've passed that stage where we'll be massaging anybody's ego, or we'll be trying to, impress some other people by trying to hide the truth. Because that is what our political leaders do. They try to be politically correct, so they try to hide the truth so that they can impress their allies or their sponsors. But we've reached a stage where we will have to look truth in the eye and say this is truth. My brother, what's been happening, there's never been anything like farmers' headers crisis. Maybe in the initial days, that was prior to 2010, there was something like that. But because they've been holding this as an excuse. In Benue, for instance, in 2017, the entirety of the populace of Benue sat down to say, look, we have to enact for ourselves a law that will govern, that will create a solution to what these people are calling farmers' headers crisis. And so we gave for ourselves a law on open grazing prohibition. Do you know, to establish a ranch is quite very cheap, actually. All you need to do is to get lease a land and fence the land and then feed your cattle between that barricade. So, but these people, because their aspiration is not really grazing, their aspiration is to conquer and to dominate and to take over. They refused. Do you know that, okay, in the attack in my village, the attack of June 13 rather, and June 14th, these people came with over 100 AK-47. Do you know, my brother, that 3 AK-47 can give you a very good ranch? The price for 3 AK-47, for instance, because an AK-47 go for about 3 million in Nigerian naira. 9 million can give you a very good ranch. You know, but these people's aim is to conquer our land, to extend the jihad of the 19th century beyond our land and dip the Quran in the sea. That is exactly what's been happening. And that is why when they came to attack us on June 13 and June 14, they were reciting the globally recognized slogan and motto of terrorists. Unfortunately, they were shouting Allah Akbar from beginning to end. For the 4 hours they were operating. Can you call that a farmer header crisis? Can you call that a clash? My sister, Ngodo Mary, who they doused with fuel and slaughter and kill her on that day, was she fighting anybody? My brother Osoja Ipakia, who was doused with fuel with his 4-year-old son, and macheted and killed, was he fighting anybody? But while they were killing these guys, they were shouting Allah Akbar. Allah Akbar. And unfortunately, we know that this phrase, which in Arabic means God is great, has unfortunately been used by global Islamic jihadists as their slogan, as their motto. And they only use that in any event that is meant to accentuate, to expand Islam. So let's tell ourselves the truth. Like I keep referring to the genocide of Yerota over June. When they came, they stopped over in Giza a day earlier. Giza is a neighboring town in Kiana local government of Nasarawa State. They had their prayers there. They recited all they could recite before going to kill in Yerota. They were dedicating it to God, to the God they served. So I want to say, and I want to say categorically, that there's extremely, absolutely nothing like farmer header crisis. What we're witnessing is a systematic jihad with the aim of dipping the Quran in the sea.
But sorry to interrupt you, Frank. I'm still staying with you, but are there also, could there be instances of maybe a resource control too? Because we also know that some of these areas have natural resources that are of, quantum economic value. Could that also be a reason, for some of these attacks that we see?
Okay, so from the angle of conspiracy theories, I've heard that perspective too of resource control. But so far, we don't have those kind of resources yet in our area. And but before, even now, that has always been the agenda of conquest. So anybody who is bringing the resource control part of it, we cannot completely divorce it. But so far, that has not been the case. We are talking of exactly what we know, And when you're talking, yes, we are talking of exactly what we know. And let me tell you one truth. Do you know, in many cases, we've been arresting our attackers. In many cases, with our mere guns and machetes, we do bring 1 or 2 of our attackers down. So we've been hearing confessions. I'm telling you that in the last 12 years, starting from 2015, I've heard directly from not less than 10 of our attackers. We'll be arresting some.
What did they tell you?
Like in Yerota,
Frank, briefly, what did they tell you? Briefly, what were you told from the confessions you had from the attackers?
Yeah, from the confession is the issue of domination, conquering the town, moving us southwards, and taking over our land. And let me tell you, right now as we speak, you see, Yerota is on the highway between Makurdi and Lafia. It's the center line between Makurdi and Lafia. That's 51 kilometers to Makurdi, 49 kilometers to Lafia. So we're just directly in the middle of Makurdi and Lafia. Okay, if you go starting from a kilometer into the hinterland, into the bushes, up to 5, 6, 7, 8 kilometers, Many of these thief settlements have been desolate. They've been left, they've been vacated, and many of their guys are in the IDP camps. Do you know that right now, as we speak, Fulanis have taken over these thief settlements? They are right now occupying the bedrooms of thief people. They are using their kitchen.
All right.
They brought their kids. So is that former Hera crisis? That is domination. That is conquest.
All right, Frank, I will leave you for a moment. I know you have a lot to say, Frank. Thank you so much. I'm still going to come back to you, but let me take this conversation back to Zariyi Yusuf. Yusuf, you opened the floor by saying what you consider the root cause, and other speakers seem to have built on it. But I'm going to go back to some of the things Frank said. He said many of these attackers use sophisticated weapons like the AK-47. He even put a monetary value to it at about 3 million naira a piece, if I'm correct, referring to him. But I'm going to also look at it from the angle of tracing the sponsors. Because if you look at some of the pictures or images of these attackers, you would wonder how they're able to even have access to such funds. So I would like you to speak on that in terms of the angle of the sponsors. Why has it, over the years, seemed to be somewhat evasive when it comes to tracing them?
I think the sponsors of these killings are not so complex or difficult to locate. I am an indigene of Kaduna State, and I will start by mentioning one name, Sheikh Mahmoud Gumi.
Are you
in the beginning, he condemned...
Sorry.
Listen.
I'm going to ask you, do you have proof of that? Can you defend that? Can you defend it?
Okay, let me put it this way to you, because knowledge starts from common sense to the complex. In Kaduna State, you would remember that the people we are dealing with have demonstrated the capability of shooting down even military aircrafts. They have demonstrated that. They have attacked the Nigerian Defense Academy. They have done all kinds of evil in southern Kaduna at some point. And there was a point in Nigeria where one cleric, Sheikh Mahmoud Gumi, was interfacing with them. From interfacing with them as a way of trying to be an intermediary, he began to speak on their behalf. We have seen a video where he sat down and was educating them. He told them that among the Nigerian military, the army, there are Muslims and there are Christians. It is the Christians in the army that are aggressive against them and not the Muslims. A statement like that coming from a man who should be a religious figure to a terrorist organization leaves more questions than answers. And unless we want to be politically correct, we should know where that is coming from. This man came during the 2023 campaign and openly said, any leader that demonstrates as a part of his policy to arm the military to kill these terrorists must not be voted. This same man has been seen interfacing with them. At some point, he said they are here to stay. They are not going anywhere. I am talking to you about people who have killed over 400 people. In 2022, I keep making reference to that, 2022 May, over 400 people were killed in Mangu. Women were raped. I went to Apa local government and I saw how many communities have been deserted completely. They have been completely deserted, and these Fulani jihadists left scouts in that area, such that the very moment there is any attempt either by the local people to go back and get their food or go back to access something, they alert the fighters and they come. I almost lost my life in that, but thank God for the military in that regard that just went for a rescue. But it's a very dangerous situation. So for somebody like Sheikh Mahmoud Gumi, his position on the terrorist and his strict opposition to taking any aggressive response against them leaves nothing in question. So when you ask a question about who sponsors it, we don't have to dig deep. There is no ground whatsoever for anybody to speak on behalf of an Islamist group, and then we want to divorce the sponsorship of it from him. That's one. Secondly, the body language of the governors of northern Nigeria has demonstrated that they are more willing to create a scenario of pardoning and giving incentives to terrorists than eliminating them. You see, the major problem we have is that ethnic and religious biases or ethnic and religious ties of most of the politicians and Islamic clerics we have in the northern part of the country has made it difficult for us to separate whether it is peace they want to establish or it is a terrorist they are pampering.
All right, Yusuf, I stumbled into a video. I'll come back to you. I'll definitely come back to you. I sincerely apologize for interrupting you, but we need to go on a quick break. When we return, would also consider the role of the security in all of this. We've seen monies being spent, resources deployed, but why are we still here and talking about this again? Stay with us, we'll be right back. Many thanks for staying with us. It's still Politics HQ on New Central Television. I still have my guest with me. Zariyi Yusuf is the former National Coordinator, Middle Belt Patriots. Reverend John Hayab is the Chairman of the Northern Christian Association of Nigeria, and Franc Utoo, Yelwata Indigene. Gentlemen, thank you for staying with me. Now, before we went on that break, I'm coming back to you, Zariyi Yusuf. I'd like you to sort of complete your line of thought, but I'd also want you to speak on if at all, the role of socioeconomic groups like the popular, I'm trying to remember that group, Miyeti Allah, thank you so much, for their role in all of this. Do you think, because there have been, positions that maybe ranching can solve, this issue, do you think that all of this, can sort of, in a way, manage this situation?
Quickly round up with regards to sponsorship. So I did mention Sheikh Mahmoud Gumi. At least in terms of the narrative, he has always been on the side of covering up these terrorists. While Nasir El-Rufai was governor of Kaduna State, whatever intelligence came to his disposal that he was able to trace the killers of then southern Kaduna was the hotbed. However, he was able to trace them to Chad, Mali, or whatsoever, and whatever part of our resources he took and said he compensated them with, which he went around TV station gloating about it, only God knows. So when we talk about, because the belief, especially from southern Kaduna, is that the sophistication of those attacks came after somebody said he compensated them. Because we can't keep playing games with the truth. We are talking about people's lives, we are talking about women being violated and all of that. So yes, it is not sophisticated or complex to know who the sponsors and the supporters of Islamism in Nigeria are. Now, with regards to Miyeti Allah was a group, or is a group that was bold enough under General Muhammadu Buhari's regime to claim responsibility for massacres on the plateau in Benue and all of that. Once that happens, Miyeti Allah has a demand for ranching, which Buhari kept attempting to do under different names, either water resource bills, either ranching, either Ruga settlements, and all of that. The tactics Miyeti Allah is employing is simple. It is a jihadist movement. But what they want to do is to appear as people who by default of their nature and tradition, they don't have a home, and so they are the responsibility of the government. What they are trying to do is to be adopted by the Nigerian government as a pet project. And then they will now be carried as a liability on the Commonwealth of the Middle Belt and sustained and protected by the government with our own resources. So in other words, while the thief man in Benue uses his money to buy 1, 2, 3 plots of land to run his poultry or his fishery, another one will get his brothers from Niger, from Chad, from Mali, armed with AK-47, come and rape his wife, kill his children, destroy his crops, and then tell the government the only way to resolve this matter is to carve this, thousands of hectares. If you have had a look at the demands for setting up, the ranches, you would understand, quite frankly, it is an expansionist agenda that is meant to be championed by the use of state powers. So that is basically the economic dimension of it. In other words, we want to prosecute our war of dominance by using state powers. Because clearly, if they come in, it's not exactly as if the Middle Belt is a region they have ever conquered. The subjugation of the Middle Belt, especially politically, came with with colonial powers.
All right.
And what is basically happening, especially the suppression of the peoples of the Middle Belt from resisting and fighting for their lives, comes because the agencies of the government that should protect people suppresses the Middle Beltans from defending themselves against these killers.
All
so
right, now talking about agencies of government, sorry, I have to
it's a terrorist organization.
That's Zariyi Yusuf. Talking about agencies of government, I'm going to direct my question to Reverend John. Now, Reverend, let's look at the role of security personnel in all of this. I've said this on several platforms, right? I did my NYSC 2009, 2010 in Jos, and I also saw crisis firsthand. And I know, what it feels like to run for your life, to not be sure of seeing the next day, to visit a friend, and when you are not sure, and not being sure whether you will return back to your home safely. So, and I also saw security personnel all over the place, yet crisis, attacks still persisted. So what is the missing link here? Do we have a situation whereby these people are maybe underfunded, underarmed, undertrained, or are they just, overwhelmed?
This way, in the first place, we have to admit that security in Nigeria have been compromised to a large extent. I remember very well when a former minister gave to Mieti Allah over 100 billion. Nigerians must not forget that. So how can you secure a country where you are giving people who are already terrorizing fellow citizens such huge amount? Two, there is a trust deficit between government and the people, and most especially between the people and security agencies. Listening to the comments my colleagues on this platform are saying, I'm from Kaduna State, I am of Southern Kaduna extraction. I know what I saw during the previous government of El-Rufai and others, if one can mention name, how people were killed, homes destroyed, lives completely shattered. And when you even run to government to complain, instead of government show her might to protect you as a citizen, government will in turn accuse you of raising tension because government just wants you to speak nice language, being politically correct. Well, you know that your father has been killed, your neighbor has been killed, children were slaughtered, and there was no concrete step by government to do. But is it a complete practice every day? There are some changes we are seeing, but we have to admit that certain things went wrong. And I keep repeating this, that until our security agencies win the trust of the people, honestly speaking, they can't fight this because the people don't even trust them to share with them what they are seeing.
Why do you think, Reverend, why do you think the people don't trust the security?
Yeah, because of certain practices that people experienced in the past, and security have not made deliberate effort to. I've seen a situation where, as one of our speakers said, there is a killing, and for 1 hour, the terrorists will have a field day, burning houses, killing women and children. Nobody says anything. But the next day, security agencies will come. Probably the young people who escaped have come back in anger with their den gun and trying to show, we will not take this. Then they will arrest them and parade them before media and say they have gotten gun runners or they've gotten people with weapons. How can people trust such kind of a situation? Where were you for 1 hour? Look at, in some cases, the distance between a security checkpoint and where the evil is being done is not up to 1 kilometer or up to 3 kilometers. But once the evil is being done, at that time they will become deaf and dumb. They will no longer hear. They will no longer talk. They will not act until when the criminals have killed destroy and disappear. Then they will come trying to demonstrate that they are showing that they have come to rescue the people. Then they will arrest innocent people. How will people not think that they have compromised? I remember that General T.Y. Danjuma had to publicly one of these years say that, look, this thing is being happening with the collusion of our security agencies. So communities that I come from have testified that they know this. In the past, I used to argue when people would tell me that they will see strange aircraft throwing food in the bush, I was thinking it's not possible. But evidence have shown that it has been happening. How can you have aircraft flying in communities and throwing food to some faceless people in the bush and nobody knows about it, nobody arrests them, nobody arrests the aircraft? No, something is wrong here.
That's really interesting. I mean, aircraft roving, in the bush and supplying food. I mean, that's really something to think about. But we'll go on a quick break. When we return, we'll be taking our final thoughts on this and also on the issue of self-defense, which some individuals have started clamoring for. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Many thanks for staying with us. It's still Politics HQ on News Central Television. And of course, we are looking at what I call it, it's a continuum today of the conversations that was held earlier today at our town hall series in Jos Plateau. We're looking at the crisis across the Middle Belt. Well, let's give you some highlight of what went down earlier today at the town hall series.
We want to say good morning to you.
At the Middle Belt Town Hall series organized by News Central on the Plateau, the experiences shared by victims were not only shocking, but also emotional.
We are tired. This thing has pained me. That day that we stood and talk so that we arrange the peace with them is that very day they will all again to go and attack another village.
This issue keep on repeating, killing and discrimination of Fulanis, animal poisoning, roastling of animal, butchering of animal, and then the media is taking sides. Media is not reporting what is expected because when something happened to Fulani, you hardly see it or hear it in the media.
2017, for instance, there was an attack in Bakin Kogi, Kaninkong. Said 7 houses were burnt and 4 people were killed. I left Port Harcourt to southern Kaduna. I counted 150 houses and I saw a mass grave containing 21 persons. So the media is also complicit in what is happening in the Middle Belt.
On that very day, they killed one of my uncle, they butchered him, and they also ate his meat. They cook his meat and eat it. If I were talking now, they'll say, you are a Fulani man. I will go look for admission, they'll say, he's a Fulani man, we can't grant him admission. Of which, I'm an indigene.
Women are crying every day. We are being raped.
They are helpless.
With blame game among various tribes and ethnicities, one thing stands out. For peace to reign, there must be justice.
We have youths. Let's bring them together. Let's form holistic vigilante group, not vigilante group that will take sides.
Until justice is done, there will never be a solution. If you get a Fulani man that is a killer, deal with him as a killer. If you get a bureau man that is a killer, deal with him as a killer, and this will come to an end.
For the security operatives and the government, achieving peace in Nigeria's Middle Belt requires a collaborative effort.
The areas where all these crises are taking place are vast. We cannot have security in every single place. And even if we do, if somebody wants to kill another person, or vice versa, it cannot be stopped until we agree to stop all the killing. That being said, as Commander Operation Safe Haven, I want to assure everyone that we will be just, there will be equity, and we will be fair to everyone. But we need the help of each and every person.
If you are aggrieved, report to the nearest security agency. And I'm giving you assurance. When you report, we act on all these reports.
But one thing that is sure here is the fact that there's some complexity in the issues that have been raised that is beyond us dealing with it as Plateau State government. However, There are much efforts that are being put in place to address these issues once and for all.
Whoever you are, wherever you are in the world, our appeal from News Central and my appeal personally to you will be, please, I beg you, let the violence stop. Let there be peace. Let peace reign supreme in the land.
It is expected that these engagements will bridge the gap between the government and citizens and lay the groundwork for lasting peace in the Middle Belt region. In Lagos for News Central, Igbalani Omoni.
Well, it's on that note we will, of course, be dropping the curtains on today's episode. But before we go, I would also like to, of course, apologize. We wanted to bring back the guests, but we had technical issues bringing them back to speak on their final thoughts on this matter. Just before I also go to, peace is priceless. It's extremely priceless. And this is an appeal. Please let peace reign. It's chaotic, you know, not to be sure if you wake up the next day, not to be sure of the next minute. We need to live in a system where peace remains supreme and not vengeance. So I'm appealing to the people of the Middle Belt. Please let peace reign. Once again, thank you so much. You can choose to follow us on social media. The handle is at News Central TV. You can also follow me personally at Dakpo at Digboye. Until I come your way tomorrow, good night.